trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. Alan Watts. On self-realization, Alan Watts, a renowned British philosopher, interpreter of Eastern philosophy, and meditation teacher, offered profound insight into human consciousness, self-realization, and the nature of life. His famous quote, "Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth," may sound simple at first, but it contains deep wisdom about human awareness and the essence of the self. In this article, we will explore this quote in detail and understand how it applies to various aspects of human life. The futility of trying to define yourself. Watts suggests that trying to define oneself is like trying to bite your own teeth. Just as it is physically impossible to bite your own teeth, it is equally impossible to fully define or limit your own self. Human consciousness is dynamic, living, and constantly changing. We try to confine our identity to words, labels, or definitions, but in reality, our consciousness is so vast and free that it cannot be imprisoned within a boundary. Example, if someone says, "I am just a teacher," or "I am just a student," that statement never captures the full reality. A person can be a teacher, a friend, a parent, a partner, and a social being all at once. Similarly, within each individual, emotions such as fear, love, joy, sadness, curiosity, and passion coexist simultaneously, and these cannot be fully expressed in a single definition. Watts is emphasizing that our true nature is complete, limitless, and beyond confinement, and cannot be entirely expressed in words. 2. The complexity of self-realization. In Watts' philosophy, self-realization is not merely thinking about oneself. It is a profound experience that connects a person to the reality that they are part of the universe. When we limit ourselves to words and definitions, we miss the broader picture of our existence. Restricting ourselves to labels such as career titles or social roles prevents us from experiencing the fullness of life. Watts teaches that true self-awareness arises when we experience ourselves as living, dynamic beings rather than fixed identities. Human consciousness and experience, personality, is not just a title or label, it is an ongoing flow of energy and experience. Like water flowing in a river, constantly moving and never stagnant, our selfhood is in continuous motion. Trying to define oneself is like trying to bottle that water. It simply cannot be done. 3. Social identity and its contradictions. Watts' quote can also be understood in the context of modern society. Today, people often attempt to see and present themselves according to societal definitions. Many people try to define themselves through achievement, status, or wealth. On social media, individuals often present themselves in a way they think will be accepted or admired. Watts points out that all these efforts limit our true self. Our real identity is not based on social validation or approval. It is rooted in direct experience and consciousness. Example, a person who constantly defines themselves by their habits, roles, or relationships cuts themselves off from their limitless potential and inner creativity. Just as biting your own teeth is impossible, fully defining your true self is equally impossible. Experiencing the limitlessness of the self, Watts teaches that freedom and peace arise when we stop trying to fully define ourselves. When we stop confining ourselves to words and labels, we come closer to our true nature. We can experience our emotions, thoughts, and experiences freely, without restriction. This philosophy aligns closely with Eastern spiritual traditions, where the ego is seen as a temporary construct, and the true self is considered an expansive, limitless consciousness. Meditation example, in meditation, a person lets go of all labels and definitions about themselves. They observe themselves as a witness rather than a fixed identity. Through this practice, one experiences their true essence, which is beyond words and concepts. 5. Philosophical perspective. To understand Watts' quote philosophically, we can look at Zen Buddhism and existentialism. In Zen Buddhism, understanding reality requires emptying the mind and letting go of self-definitions. Existentialism teaches that individuals have the freedom to create meaning in life, but this meaning cannot be fully captured in fixed definitions. Watts' teaching highlights a philosophical paradox. We try to define ourselves, yet our true self cannot be confined by words. Just as one cannot bite their own teeth, one cannot fully define the self. Practical applications in life. Watts' quote has significant practical implications. 1. Reduce pressure on yourself. Letting go of the need to fully define yourself reduces mental stress and brings ease in life. Focus on experience instead of limiting yourself to words or labels. Focus on experiencing life fully in the present moment. 3. Creative freedom. Not confining oneself allows for greater creativity. You can embrace new ideas, emotions, and experiences freely. 4. Less need for social approval. Accepting your true self reduces the dependency on validation or approval from society. Summary: Alan Watts' quote teaches us we cannot fully define ourselves. Trying to limit ourselves through definitions restricts our consciousness. True self-awareness and freedom lie in experiencing ourselves rather than labeling ourselves. Life's true joy comes from realizing that we are limitless, dynamic, and constantly evolving beings. Watts' philosophy invites us to embrace the present, experience life fully, and understand that our essence is beyond words and descriptions.